This, it wasn't a ripple, it had quite an effect. And yes, I'm sorry if I'm a bit nervous because this is the first time I've stepped out after that to talk. More importantly, I think all my fellow contemporary actors have covered pretty much everything I also would have underlined or spoken of. पर मैं संक्षेप में कहूँगा, जैसे आयुष्मान हिंदी में वार्तालाप कर रहे थे, मैं संक्षेप में कहूँगा, I concur with all three of them to the extent where I believe it's not about new age cinema, like Bhumi was saying. We've made all kinds of cinema for so many years. Like Ayushmann mentioned, there was a divide and there was a conversation that happened about niche, about ये art cinema है, ये इस type की film है, ये उस type की film है. I think there has been an evolution in our audience, primarily. That's why we have been allowed to be successful as actors. I think we are all four prime examples of breaking the norm and not being conventional. And I'll talk about my work because we all have been flaunting our own work for the last few minutes. It primarily comes down to, I've grown up here in the fraternity. I've also done exactly the same stuff that Tahir was talking about. Danced on other people's songs to learn dancing, done action class, done monologues from old Hindi films. Aaj mere paas bangla hai, parents hai, gaadi hai, whatever. We've done all that. And then when I was offered Ishaqzaade, when I auditioned and I got the script, I'm sure pretty much now everybody here knows the interval is something unbelievable in terms of Hindi film writing. And I wouldn't even go very far back. I would say 2001 was when Hrithik Roshan made his conventional Hindi film debut, which was very, very successful because I think our audience was still very, very aspirational then. They had no sense of, they had still not evolved in terms of exposure, experience, Western civilization, having the internet, television, for example, or just generally the conversations were very different then. We were still very, very aspirational in our film viewing. That's why we had so many more stars and superstars. When I was offered Ishaqzaade, when I read that scene, I just got back to thinking maybe even 3 or 4 years before that film released, to be told that a Hindi film hero for a banner like Yash Raj Films would make his debut in a film where he ends up molesting a girl after marrying her and is going to be called the main lead of a film and I would be accepted by the entire country. Is just a prime example of the change in the thought process of an audience. They are much, much more evolved than we give them credit for. There is I mean, Vikas is not here today. I think Vikas would have been a prime example to talk about. A film like Queen wouldn't have even been able to get made maybe a couple of years back. And that all stems from the fact that now we have an audience that is willing to spend money to not just go कि यार time pass करके आते theatre में. Time pass करने के लिए हमारे पास आज 3G है phone पे. हमारे पास आज TV में 100 channels हैं. We can download things whenever we want. And time pass करने के लिए और AC खाने के लिए आप लोगों ने theatre में जाना बंद कर दिया है. The time for average is going away. Filmmaking is a serious business because, like everybody was saying, there is a huge dichotomy in our audience. The same person will not appreciate Finding Fanny the same way maybe somebody in Bombay might. In Bihar, it won't even see a release. But that does not stop an actor or a director or producer from taking chances. We still continue to do that. Primarily, it stems from the fact that we have grown up in that environment and the change of the thought. We are an extension of the audience. Our acceptance is because they find a relation to us, they correlate to us. There is no sense of, "Arey, mujhe Arjun jaise banna hai." There is an idea, "Arey, Arjun apne jaisa hai." So when the audience finds a believability and a relatability to you, then they don't mind coming and seeing you pushing the envelope. Because Arjun apne jaisa to apne saath bhi ye ho sakta hai. It becomes as simple as that. So if there is a boy who meets me in Jodhpur when I went for a wedding after Ishaqzaade release and he said, "Arey, jaise aap ladki se baat karte ho na Ishaqzaade mein, main bhi waise hi karta hu." And I'm like, okay, I lived in Bombay all my life, but I didn't even know. They correlate and they feel so much of emotion towards the characters that they watch. So audiences still want to come to theatres, they still want to enjoy themselves, but they don't want to be taken for granted. And that's why I feel the new age argument, conversation, of course we will have commercial films, but eventually we as actors, the onus lies upon us to take those risks. I mean, I'm very proud of Anushka Sharma for doing NH10. Few years back, people would have disowned the film. I mean, they would have said, "Yeah, why do you want to show this aspect of India? We should hide it from the world. We should not speak about it." Today, people are applauding them for making a film that is real. It is very, very real. I mean, it is gut-wrenchingly real. A guy like me who's used to seeing all kinds of cinema shut my eye when she is in that car in the end because it is very real. Mardani, for example, who who would have thought that you talk about child trafficking in our country, which is such a taboo subject? It exists. These thoughts, these ideas have always existed in society. We have been very scared to translate them on screen. What's happened is with our audience being accepting, them having exposure, them wanting to start interesting conversations, it allowed us to make all kinds of cinema. Some will fail, some will work. But the idea is we will keep pushing the envelope, and eventually, I hope, and I'm a big believer of commercial cinema. I mean, I've grown up watching all kinds of commercial cinema, Ram Lakhan, Mr. India, you can name it. I have always loved commercial cinema, and my choices reflect that. But I hope that our industry finds the correct balance. It's something that has been lacking for many, many years. We just ride a wave of what we think is working. If a horror film works, we will announce 20 other horror films. If a romantic comedy based in London is working, 30 units will land up in London to shoot because वहाँ पे rebate भी मिलता है. That philosophy and ideology has to change from the industry because the audience does not care about all that. The audience wants to have a good time, but they want layers now. They don't want, like I said, time pass and average is something that is available at fingertips to people. We have to go beyond and we have to think beyond, and I think this conversation is just the start. And at the end of the day, I think the full credit goes to the people who come to theatres and they reject bullshit that we give them. I think that is very, very important. And I know critics get a lot of flack, but there are certain films that wouldn't have seen the light of the day if it wasn't for people who give you that opinion. Go watch Ship of Theseus, go watch Lunchbox. I mean, who many years back would have thought that we have a Lunchbox happening in our country? Who would have thought Dum Laga Ke Haisha? And I'm going to use this as a commercial example primarily because the main lead of that film, it's a hero-driven so-called industry, which I completely negate because I think it's content-driven more than it's ever been. Because even our biggest superstars are gullible when they don't make decent cinema, even commercially. He had a film that didn't do well. It wasn't successful at the box office a month before Dum Laga Ke Haisha released. And Dum Laga Ke Haisha's trailer intrigued everybody, but everybody was saying, yeah, will it, won't it, will it, won't. And I'm talking about the industry, I'm not talking about the audience. Because the audience is clearly given an outstanding verdict. We within the industry were thinking, yeah, क्या होगा, क्या नहीं होगा. लोग देखेंगे, what kind of a film will it be? And I think the reviews come out by Friday afternoon. I think by Friday afternoon, the critics had spoken, the audiences heard the critics call. They started going to the theatre. The film started with ₹1 crore on the first day. It has done over 28 crore rupees. I think to do a Dum Laga Ke Haisha or a Band Baja Barat has more value than doing 200 crore films if the government loves and appreciates it. And I'm sure he'll also do a 100 crore film. I'm sure she'll also do a 100 crore film, but that 100 crore has no value unless you get the kind of love Dum Laga Ke Haisha has got. So I think the audience love is what we need to work towards more than just numbers, because numbers come and go, but that love is what will take us forward and make us take more chances. Thank you, Ritu.
Thank you, Eric. We'll get into the discussion here. What a great time to have this conversation. Literally, in the period when we've had 4 back-to-back interesting films. We had Badlapur. Close on the heels of that, we had Dum Laga Ke Haisha. We had NH10 right after, and there was Hunter, which is just released, which is also has strong word of mouth, which people seem to appreciate. It's a great time to have this conversation, and it's a great time when this question sort of becomes relevant. Are we ready to declare that Bollywood is finally formula free? Because these films are not formulaic films. These films have broken some sort of mold. But are we rushing, if we were to say, based on these 4 successes or based on the response to these 4 films, if we were to say that indeed we've broken formula, indeed we're formula free, are we rushing that? Do you feel like that's too soon? And it's what you said. You said that it's a ripple. It's not a wave just yet. I want to get your opinion. I want to get all your opinion on that. Do you feel it's too soon to declare it a trend?
Yeah, it is soon.
I don't know. I think I would like to thank the World Cup for that. The medium and small budgeted films, which are more content driven, I think they're coming to the fore because there are no big releases here. And back to back, the 4 so-called content driven films did really well. Started with Badlapur, then Dum Laga Ke Haisha, NH10 and now Hunter. I've liked all the films and they're doing pretty well. There was no congruent area in between. They were not stepping into each other's shoes. The genres were completely different. And again, as Arjun said, the audiences have matured a lot and this really helped. Timing and the maturity of the audience, and of course, to top everything is the content.
I think, of course, it is a bit early to start assuming that this is the only way forward.
Right.
But I do believe that this is a good direction to catch on to. It's very difficult to kind of encompass the fact that, okay, there's a phase going on right now where we've not had a commercial success for a while. But that's also because I feel our commercial films have not been capable of delivering. They've not been very, very entertaining, engaging, including a film that I did which was not successful because there is a sense of fatigue from the audience in terms of the genres that we've explored commercially. Suddenly there will be some commercial films that will also do well towards the latter half of the year. There will be lots of them, I'm sure, I hope, otherwise the industry cannot function. Those films also have to do well for these to get made. I mean, Varun Dhawan cannot do a Varlapur unless he has a Mehter, Hero and Humphrey Sharma happening a year before. So it is interrelated. But that's why the choices of actors is important. And Anushka does a PK knowing she wants to do an NA stand somewhere in between. A Phantom is making many other films so they can make a Hunter in between also. You have to, that balance, for me it's about finding the right balance. The audience will come and see it on merit of what they like. At the end of the day, you cannot predict the audience coming in for what kind of films. We should keep experimenting, you never know where you land up. But it's very, very encouraging to know word of mouth exists. You know, there was a phase where people thought कि सिर्फ first day पे जो देखने गए वही देखने गए. It's nice to know that a film can play in the theaters more than a week. There was a huge phase in between where I lost belief कि एक दो हफ्ते से ज़्यादा चलती है picture शायद. That's the encouraging sign for me that people still go on a weekday to watch a film. It's not so much about अरे आज सिर्फ family को लेकर जाते. It's about we've got good stuff. Let's go see it and we'll form our own opinion about it. That's the encouraging sign that the audience is coming into theaters based on awareness and likability of a film.
You know, I want to ask a question to Bhumi. Bhumi, something we spoke about, earlier off stage. You asked whether, we were talking about Dum Laga Ke Aisha, and you said it was a great role, and you said that any actress would have done it because it was a great role. And I really want to open that out. Is that really a role that any actress would have done?
Arjun, I like how you're looking at me as you say any actress.
No, I think
we are not in December.
I think of you as, as the seasoned one on this on this table.
Yeah, I'm a thespian according to Tahir. Considering me and him made our debut together, he has called me old, but I'm not purana. Sorry.
Do you feel like, do you all feel like that was a part that any actress would have done? My personal opinion here was that I don't know how many established actresses currently working in the business would have taken that part, although it is a great role, we know it now, we've seen the film. And also I don't know if someone who was aspiring to be an actress, aspiring to be the next Deepika Padukone would have wanted to do that part. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
The way I look at it today is that people know actors today want to push themselves. They want to do new things, and that's why I told you that yeah, maybe any actor would have done it because it definitely is a very big challenge in itself. And today again, as I even spoke about the kind of exposure we've had, like the kind of television I watch or the kind of cinema I watch, I am encouraged to do new things. As an actor, I hope even my next film is someplace, it's not only about a physical transformation, there's a lot more that goes into your character. And I feel even if you keep her weight aside, Sandhya in itself was penned down so well that I definitely think any actor would do. Just transferring yours. For me, the biggest challenge was not the weight. For me, my biggest challenge was how do I turn the Bombay girl in me, how do I turn Bhumi into Sandhya? Okay, because I'm from Bombay, I've lived here, I haven't been to Rishikesh or Haridwar many times. That was a challenge for me, and I feel definitely any actor would do it because today people want to do exciting work. They always want a rush. So definitely, at least my take on it is that for sure.
I always thought that Bhumi's character, in fact Sandhya's character in Dum Laga Ke Aisha, had to be a newcomer's zone because that person, the actor, had to come without the baggage. And she needed to be cute, vulnerable at the same time, and attractive also. Being overweight, of course, weight was part of the character of the film, I think. But she had to be vulnerable and cute at the same time, and a newcomer could have, given a lot to the table. And Bhumi did a spectacular job with that.
Also, perhaps if it was in fact an established actor, the conversation possibly would have been only about the weight, and it would have turned out to be just a gimmick, perhaps, and not look at the whole film. But the truth is, it's true of all the three of you and the films that you've done. I mean, whether it's Vicky Donor, whether it's making your debut, as a villain in Mardani, or as you spoke, Arjun, about making your debut in a film like Ishaq Zadeh. I mean, Tahir, you said, you don't use the word struggle, but you've been trying to be an actor for 5 years before you made your debut. Could you have done this kind of film 5 years before Mardani came out?
I think my character in Mardani, again, like we've been crediting the audience so much, has a lot to do with the kind of TV shows that they've been watching. Internationally, if you watch a lot of stuff at the moment, what's in vogue are grey characters, or characters who wouldn't be characterized as your typical, I'm talking about Kevin Spacey in House of Cards, or even Matthew McConaughey. You've got, you know, or Breaking Bad, the show that the character in Mardani was called Walter White. So I don't think 5 years ago, before this Netflix wave had started off, an audience would have been ready for what you now call an anti-hero. Yeah.
You want to add to that?
I think they've stopped looking at it as the hero-villain dynamic. You know, that's pretty much as simple as that. It kind of, I won't say broke, it's just the transition happened where there's a sense of likability to seeing somebody who's vulnerable and not being able to. See, my character was vulnerable and he was impressionable, so he made wrong choices.
Right.
That does not define him as the archetypical villain who's a megalomaniac who wants to dominate the world. There are characters who make choices and he has a consequence. His mother dies in the film. So you're seeing a journey. There are reasons, there are logics, there are emotions you feel even with that character. So he's not a two-dimensional villain designed for hero ke marega. He's a character who has reasons for being the way he is. He was literally the guy who was banished from his family. He lived in a room. He wanted acceptance from his family. He gets slapped. His ego gets hurt. He decides to take revenge so he can get into his political family zone. He's only thinking from his personal selfish point of view, which people understand now. So the character, people understood why he did something wrong. So there is a sense of, you know, if I met this guy, I might not like what he's done, but I understand where he came from. So, like I said, the relatability has increased over the course of time, and the characters are much more defined. It's not just a kutta mein tera khoon pee jaunga kind of villain that's happening. Yeah, so that helps. The characters are layered.
I also thought, you know, sometimes you're selfish as an actor, and sometimes you're selfish as a star. If you're selfish as a star, then I think you'll think about how likable I look for the masses. And if you're selfish as an actor, you'll always think that, you know, what kind of opportunity is this for me to establish myself as an actor? You know, I think if we prioritize the actor in us before the star, I think we will cut the mark. We'll always crack the code.
And it's not only the negative. So I'll tell you something which there were a few people who came up to me and had this conversation when I agreed to do 2 states. And when it released, there was a sense of, but you didn't have any Delhi one in you. Your entire family was North Indian. And I was like, but that's not how everybody in Delhi talks. So I made a choice of not sounding like, kuch nahi hota, dekh lenge, khaiyo, piyo, jaiyo, because I wanted him to feel and sound different. So he's not just his mother's son, he's a person on his own. Because the mother anyways was very Punjabi. So you also make choices as an actor to kind of segregate your characters that allow audiences to feel, okay, this is a different person, he's not just another character you've seen in some other film. And even for that matter, like he said, if you're not selfish, like I never realized 2 states, I'm not playing the conventional Hindi film hero. I don't take the girl and run away. He's not a rebel, but all that worked because the character was correctly defined by the director and he executed it very nicely. So that was a nice learning experience. A lot of people said, "Arey yaar, isme gaane kitne?" And I was like, "Honge yaar, 4-5." But the thing is, the journey was very interesting, and his choices as a character were very interesting. That is what makes it interesting for the audience also today.
But I think people in premium institutes, they don't talk like IUJ. You're playing a nerd in that one.
Exactly. No? So, but the thing is, there are some people who kind of tried to have this conversation that why wasn't there a Delhi-ness to you or a North Indian-ness? No, I could have put my nameplate Kapoor over there and to make it North Indian, but he was a North Indian.
If you meet people in IIT, IIMs, they all sound the same.
And they're very straightforward in the sense that they're very straight. Yeah. And they'll blur in a crowd. Calculatedly. Yeah.
Now, you know, one of the questions I want to ask is the audience maturing more rapidly than the industry? And is that why a whole different bunch of films are being accepted, but not enough perhaps are being made?
I think definitely, and that's got a lot to do with what we're dealing with at the moment of who are our films for. Like Arjun rightly brought up to say that today, if you want time pass, you've got so much just at the touch of a button, or you can download or stream. But what's great is that if 10 years ago, independent directors and producers were writing out-of-the-box stuff that was going on to the festival circuit, today you have large productions like YRF and Dharma, who, if they don't have that kind of content within their production houses, they're collaborating with those writers and directors and making out of the box stuff, because they know that their audience is between 15 to 28, and that audience is very rapidly expecting different ideas, different from what they've been seeing. So if you're not adapting, you're losing out very fast. So definitely, I feel that it's, and you see a generation gap now. In 5 years, you see the different things.
If I can give an example of myself, I've experienced this very recently. What you're talking about maturity, I think it's more about. I had Tevar release in January, and it has all those ingredients and qualities that you look for in an entertaining film that most people would step out to a theatre and watch. And we've seen year after year that those films have an audience and they do well. That audience is now bored. So they're saying, "ये तो 2 महीने में TV पे आने वाली है, हम TV पे देखने ही वाले हैं." So what are you giving me that I have not seen my other stars do? You are a young actor, you have promised me so much more than just the quintessential entertainers, and yet you're flattering to deceive me by giving me everything that all the others are also giving me. So they want you to have a voice and an identity of your own. I think that is what the reality is. The audiences, it's not that they've become your ardent admirers and they blindly watch what you're making. People say, "Aapke set of fans." I believe there is an audience acceptability we've got. But you make them fans by a body of work over a course of years and over a course of your filmography being different. Like you see Anil Kapoor's filmography, Aamir Khan's filmography. These are actors who survived trends. They've survived these waves. They've survived everything because they've made very strong, bold choices. For every Tezab, there is an Ishwar. You know, he does a Gajni, Aamir, and then he does a Delhi Belly as a producer also, or he'll do whatever stuff that he does choose to do. What Dil Chahta Ho Lagaan. I think it's come down to the audience saying that we don't expect the run of the mill from you guys because you guys are us. And you can't cheat us by giving us the stuff that everybody else is also giving us. Give us something new at least. Give us something more than just the typical generic stuff. I think that is, they're becoming more demanding in a good way. Maturity obviously has happened because the exposure has happened. But it's also, there is a demand of give us more. We don't want the run of the mill anymore.
And also I feel that, you know, we've always had good scripts. Like A Peeply Life, which was made a few years ago. Like even my film, I didn't ever expect Ayushmann to do the film. I didn't ever think that he would say, I mean, I didn't know him then personally, so obviously when I was told that, okay, like, you know, I was like, will he do it? Because for me, this wasn't traditionally a film that would do well commercially. But what's really good is when you see a Deepika Padukone or Arjun do Find and Find.
Right.
Like, you know, we have these commercial stars, these success stories that also want to like sort of push boundaries and do interesting cinema. Rani Mukherjee in Mardani, Aamir Khan has always done it. So I just feel the scripts have been there. Today our audience is more ready to watch those films. They also want to watch our stars doing other things apart from what you expect out of them. You know, there are different languages, there are different ways, there are different cultures. It's just amazing. I love the way the switch, the gap has been bridged even by our actors.
Right, right.
You know, I always, why are we looking down upon audiences of 70s and 80s and, you know, why are we doing that? I always thought that cinema actors, I know that, yeah, but I always thought your audience has matured for sure. But apart from that, television was always a class medium in 80s. There were shows like Discovery of India, जो आम आदमी के पल्ले नहीं पड़ते थे, you know, and they were films which were very mass-centric during that time. And I think the intelligent audience was not getting in theatres that time. They were watching cinema on VHS, VCRs, and because of the multiplexes, I think all these content-based cinema they're doing well. They don't even release नहीं होती. हमारी तो single screen में release नहीं होती थी पहले हफ्ते में. So you know, I think multiplexes they've got the audiences back in the theatres, the intelligent audience, that is. So I think there's a role reversal with television as a medium and film as a medium. Earlier television was progressive, now television is regressive. Earlier film was slightly regressive, now films are progressive. Probably progressive cinema of 70s and 80s were not doing well. That's the only, I think, we had intelligent audience every time, always.
Arjun, I want to ask you, you know, you said, I remember you telling me this a while ago, that when you're shooting for Tevar in Jaipur, Udaipur, in the heartland really, they call you Bala, they call you by the character that you played in Gunde. I mean, for an actor then, I mean, if that's the character and that's the film that they recognize, and Gunde really was a throwback to the 70s, if that's the character that they recognize, that's a film that instantly comes to mind, how hard is it for an actor when you're picking your slate to, you know, how difficult is it to resist those mainstream movies, those commercial movies, and do a Finding Fanny. Do you get recognized for a Finding Fanny when you travel to the heartland?
No, because it never saw the light of the day in that part of the country, and it was dubbed in Hindi. For whatever reasons, it was an English film. I did it purely because that excitement for me as an actor was I get to do it in a different language. That was my excitement to work with those actors in English. That audience that loves me as Bala has not seen Finding Fanny. They've never even heard of Finding Fanny. They must be thinking literally it doesn't exist for them. It doesn't exist for them, but that doesn't make me shy away from doing another Finding Fanny. I have no qualms in doing Gunde and Finding Fanny in the same year. I in fact said no to a lot of commercial viable films to do a Finding Fanny because it excited me as an actor. It got me nervous at the pit of my stomach. Where can I do this? I didn't believe I could. And where Gunde was concerned, it is something I've grown up consuming. And I always believe that when you do it with that passion and excitement, something translates. Gunde also, I feel, could have been a lot more than what it became eventually. But the love it got from a certain section of audience that didn't know me. Or us, Ranveer and me for that matter. Now they know us. So there is an exposure that happened through a Gunde. So I have no regrets doing either film. A Finding Fanny gave me personal satisfaction. Gunde quenched the thirst of a certain section of audience that has not seen that typical single screen kind of cinema in a while from the younger generation. So I will continue doing both. But the good part for me when I did a Gunde was, I didn't anticipate I would be called Bala when I went out. Even today, if I'm out, people still say, hey, Gunde Wala. Arey, aapka dost Ranveer ka hai. Arey, Bala, Bala, Bala. So I did not anticipate that. The one thing I love about doing Gunde was, we managed to recreate that era where there were a lot of multi-starers happening. Gunde, after a long time, was that kind of a film, and that's what excited me. Two guys who had an equal role, a girl, Irfan.
The nostalgia.
Yeah, so, and I was very excited to see if the audiences came in to see it. So that means they want to see that kind of cinema also. We have to deliver even better than what we delivered in Gunde. It might have satiated a certain audience, but we need to push the envelope in the commercial now. We had the setup and the premise and the structure ready. We should have pushed the envelope and not gone conventional where two boys just fight for love. It had to be maybe more than that. So I love the fact that we should have pushed it more in the commercial format. That is when you find a nice balance. That's why I love doing Gunde, because it taught me that aspect.
You know, Ayushmann, you said something interesting. You said that only two things work: superstar and superscript. You know, at a time when our superstars are, either 50 or getting into their 50s, how does, and I know you addressed it, you said that hopefully if you keep doing this, if you keep picking the superscripts, hopefully you'll become a superstar. But you know, on a serious note, I mean, how hard is it to become a superstar in the landscape today?
I think I mentioned that it's difficult to become a superstar, it's easy to become a star now. I think every 6 months there'll be one actor making a debut, and a smashing debut. You know, there's no dearth of actors, it boils down to the choices now. And you have to spend time in the middle while playing cricket. You have to spend time in the middle while at least a decade. You have to build a fan base, you know. And now the other thing is we are so approachable to people around us because social media. People know everything about us. There was no mystery behind an actor or a star. So I think it's slightly difficult to become a superstar.
The age of the superstar has sort of
Not
passed.
really. You know, you never know. You don't know. I think we're all young right now. We're just 3, 4 films old. You never know what's going to happen next. But as of now, you know, there's so many actors around. There's so many good scripts around. And as I said, it's either a superstar or a superscript. It's going to work. I think जितने experiment, जितने परीक्षण मैंने अपने career के साथ पिछले 3 साल में किए हैं, उससे मुझे पता लगा पहली 2 फिल्में, पहली और आखिरी फिल्म विक्की डोनर और दमलगा केशा, ना तो इसका प्रचार हुआ था, there were no promotions, there were no item songs, even the songs of the film, they became popular after the film was released. So I think इसका ये निष्कर्ष निकलता है कि विषय ही भविष्य है, in fact विषय ही वर्तमान है.
I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. What do you think?
बचपन से आदत पड़ी हुई है, मैं हिंदी थिएटर की हिंदी पब्लिक स्पीकिंग ही किया है, sorry.
I don't believe we can have those kind of superstars. I think the definition of a superstar has also changed. Ranbir Kapoor is a superstar.
That's right.
And he is primarily, now there's this divide of multiplex and single screen. I believe the single screen audience only steps out for the 3 Khans. they don't really step out otherwise as an audience. They're not going to go and do repeat viewings like in the yesteryears used to happen. Because even that audience likes to come to a multiplex and watch films, honestly. They prefer it, it's more comfortable. So you make a single screen film, but वो आके तो multiplex में देखते because there are multiplexes everywhere. I think Ranbir Kapoor is a definition of today's superstar. In the sense of the choices that he's made up in bold, they have paid off, and he continues taking risks. Bombay Velvet is going to be another risk for him. No actor can control the commerce of the film beyond a point any which ways. But he's always been very brave. He's loved by everybody. And we look forward to seeing a Ranbir Kapoor film even as actors, because we're like, okay, this guy does deliver. And if he's doing a film, it must be good. Or there must be something to it. You will never disregard a Ranbir Kapoor film. Even when he does a film in a special appearance, it has a burden of expectations. So therefore, in our generation, he's leaps and bounds ahead. He's been here for a while. He's made very good choices. And I think that's an example to learn from. I won't say follow, because he did follow anybody, therefore he is a superstar. We all have to find our own trajectory. Like Ayushmann said, in about 10 years, we have an even playing field to know where we all stand. Some might get accepted for a lot more commercial films. The prototype might break. Some might get accepted for doing all kinds of films. When I came in, everybody said, you should do, तेरे को action picture करनी चाहिए. But मुझे actually मजा नहीं आता करने में. So I kind of realized that I enjoyed doing Finding 2 stages more. So my choices will now drift towards that. There might be a time where I say, but action, I enjoyed doing it to a certain extent. I might go back to it. But in 10 years' time, I think we all will know where we all stand. But that era of superstars, like he said, it's very difficult. We're approachable. No? We're here. We're right here all the time. We're like, hey, we're always here. Yeah. It's like Twitter, Instagram. We are only on it there. So, yeah.
Right. Now, before, I have one last question before we open it out to the audience. I'd like each of you to tell me, what's the one change that you'd like to see in the next perhaps 5 years in this business? What's the one change that you'd like to see?
Writers should get paid more for sure.
Is that happening?
We should inculcate more writing, yeah. I mean, basically, predominantly the problem inherently lies in our writing. Because there aren't enough writers. Most writers aspire to become directors because they see that there is nobody who has a vision to fulfill their scripts. And there are a lot of examples who've been successful. Habib sir, for example, he used to be a writer and now he's become a writer-director. Himanshu, most of them. I genuinely feel we need to, as an industry, really have schools, have workshops, and not the workshops where you have 10, 12 days ka discussions. You have people that you hire for the whole year ki aap bas likhte raho. Kuch na kuch niklega. Have them meet.
Invest in development.
Yeah, 100%. And pay them for it. Why not? I mean, because eventually, if you look at it, if a film does 100 crores and you're paying him even 1%, that's still nothing. But no, I'm saying you should be paying him 1%. That's still nothing in the bigger picture. We don't do that. That's the sad part.
Tahir?
Mine just has to add with what Arjun's saying, is that we produce the largest number of films in the world. If we want that better writing and for them to be paid, I don't see why. And it's more of a policy thing that I'd like to see change. And I think we're in the right forum to bring it up, is just to say film education. Why don't we have film studies in colleges and schools more than it is at the moment, or creative writing? And I think it starts off over there. And where our mythology, our history is so rich in stories, why can't we then get it to adapt to current times and then translate on the screen? So just better education in creative writing.
On a side note, just when I wanted to be a director at one point in time, so I had met a few writers. Because I could always talk, but I could never write. I articulated, but I could never write. But the writers that I met, it just made me realize that they don't have that burning desire in them. And this I'm talking about 8-10 years back. They were all despondent about the fact that लोग हमारी script ले लेते हैं, उसमें से 2 scene उठा लेंगे, use कर लेंगे. We don't get credit for it. Even if we get credit, then we don't get money for it. They give us credit, they won't give us money. I mean, writing is essentially what defines a film. So when I saw that from that age, and I realized that has to change. The moment that changes, you will see a qualitative change, not a quantitative change. Because scripts तो सब लिखते हैं, पर वो quality की scripts नहीं लिखते. वरना हम सब बहुत सारी पिक्चरों को हाँ बोलना शुरू कर देते. I mean, I've struggled for a year and a half to find that correct script to say yes to. So therefore, there is a deficiency in the writing forum in our country.
It's something Vishal Bhardwaj actually told me as well. He said that the problem is we neither respect writers nor we compensate them enough, and as a result, no one is aspiring to be a writer anymore. Even if you are a writer, most writers want to become directors. No one is aspiring to be just writers anymore because we don't respect them, neither do we compensate.
I think writers are the most vulnerable one. IP has to be fixed first, I think intellectual property rights. Apart from that, there has to be parity with all the artists. I always felt that, the actors are over-pampered. And I always thought that, content is the king. And writers and directors, they are providing the content for sure. But apart from that, the silver lining is that, this is the best era of Indian cinema. As I've always said, this is the golden era of Indian cinema. Everybody is getting a chance. It's more democratic. In yesteryears, struggling actors used to stand outside studios. All the studios were like fortresses. Now, the casting has become so streamlined. They are casting directors. If you're talented, go there, audition, you'll get the part. All the casting directors take the part, yes. So I think this is the golden era of Indian cinema. It's operating beyond nepotism. It's open to all. I think the talent will survive for sure this time around.
I think the only change that I would like in the next 5 years is that let the film be the way it is. Don't put any rules and regulations. Don't cut things. As an audience, I want to see what the director has made. I want to see what the writer has made. And I feel only the writer, the director or the producer should have the right to change their film in any way they want. Because as an audience, it's not fair for me. Like, if I want to see certain type of films or I want to see certain scenes or whatever I want to see, it's my choice. I'm paying that money to go watch that film. So the only thing I would like is that, I hope our rules and our regulations and whatever the law is, I'm not aware of it, but I just hope that that sort of comes into control and we get enough freedom to make what we want.
She's of course dangerously teetering towards the theme of censorship, which is a whole different conversation.
I don't intend to do that.
Now we leave the podium to Rajiv.
One thing what he was talking about, actors can make money out of other avenues. Directors can sign many films and work on them. Musicians, lyricists, they can do more. A writer, when he writes a film, has to spend a lot of time on it. It might get made, might not get made. So a writer's job is actually the least paid right now in terms of the amount of effort he puts in over a period of time. And a script can take a year, 2 years, 3 years. Honestly, I know for a fact that some people end up taking a year to write a script. So that I would really like to see some kind of demarcation where you say there has to be a minimum wage almost structured for if you're signing a contract with a company who's a producer, then you pay an X amount of money minimum starting to a writer regardless of his experience.
Do we have writers in the audience? Yay!
Achhi script le aao yaar.
Well, let's hope then that at least the four of you are, you are in the position to have your voice heard, and hopefully you will make your voice heard and maybe in your own little way.
Unless they edit things out, as she was saying.
Okay, we can open this out. The gentleman in the second.
Stage पे ही आ जाइए.
Yeah, no, of course. We'll come to you. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question with Ayushmann and Arjun.
Yes.
Yeah, both of you spoke about good script. You are always in need of good script. Often, writer, director, it's very difficult for them to reach you people with a good script because there are so many doors to reach you. So, and often good scripts are not able to reach you. I'm talking about budding director or director who have done only 1 or 2 films.
You're absolutely right. That sometimes good scripts don't reach you. And I also think that the setup is also important in a way. The film before Dabra Ka Kesha, Hawai Zada, it was the first time director, first time producer. On paper, it was brilliant, but did not do well. So the setup has to be important. So we have to be slightly selfish also at the same time. I've learned from our mistakes, of course. So I won't lie that it's quite sad that the good scripts don't reach out to you. But I think even you have to just maneuver your scripts in the right direction so that both of us we meet in a common plane. But that's very important, I guess.
he is essentially right in the sense, I would like to believe, as an actor, I need some kind of safety net, even when I'm taking a risk. So when I do a film like Aurangzeb, which was a songless drama / thriller, which was unconventional, I knew there was a producer like Yash Raj Films doing it. It might have not done well as regardless, but I knew I can afford to take that chance. As my second film, I did it. It didn't work. It is unfortunate because I feel it was a very underrated film at that time. It didn't get its due. It was very, very unique. It was something that got me excited. But if that came from an outside producer at that point, I would still be very wary because I was still starting out. So it's timing, it's about me. There are a lot of scripts that I heard when I was starting out, which I couldn't take a chance at that point. You also need to have a foundation. Today I can take a risk. So I did a Finding Fanny also. For example, there are films that get made when an actor believes in it, they get stuck after that. So then if a film doesn't release, ना producer कुछ कर पाएगा, ना director कर पाएगा, तो एक अच्छी script बस रह जाएगी. So the balance, like Ayushmann said, has to come together. That is why the Cockroach coming in should be concentrating on setting up a foundation where these films get released. Queen took a year, Pansing Toga took a year and a half, it was nice. Filmistan was UTV finally released it. And these are all very good films that have got value from the audience, but it's taken so long. So that balance has to come in soon. That's what we were talking about essentially.
If Aankhon Dekhi had a bigger producer, it would have released in at least 600 screens. You know, it would have been a profitable venture. Such a beautiful film. Of course. But still, even for Dum Laga Ke Aisha, I guess, if it was somebody who's not from one of the biggest producers in the country, it would have got that 768 odd screens also. So we need to take a lot of things in consideration.
Okay, Siraj in the front row.
My name is Siraj Sayyed. I'm a film critic. Bhumi, Arjun, Ayushmann and Tahir, which is the one classic film that you would like to see remade with you in it?
Bhumi, you're good at casting. Why don't you cast all three of us in some remake that you would like?
Your favorite film from the 60s?
I really believe that, I do not really endorse remakes. But anyway, I think I would love to portray Shah Rukh's character in Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na.
Great.
And or Amir's character in Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar.
Tahir?
I think Shah Rukh Khan in Bazigar.
Okay, great. Arjun?
I endorse remakes. My last one was a remake.
Mr. India?
चलिए सर आप बना दीजिए फिर से
नहीं कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर नहीं है Your favorite?
Yeah, I've been an ardent admirer of Anil Chaudhary, so something from his throwback years I would definitely love to pick up and see what we can do.
Okay.
Still India would be the closest, I guess.
Right.
For me, again, I'm a very, very big Rani Mukherjee fan, so I guess Black, that film just, I was amazed at the performance. I mean, I don't think anybody can do it again, but if given a chance, definitely. For sure.
I love how this panel is just a product of 80s and 90s and no one's going beyond that. So before these classic films.
Honestly, the question was slightly more open, in the sense what films you saw that you wish you were a part of. It's easier to answer. But when you talk about remakes, it's about your childhood memories mostly they come back.
Okay, Ram or Shyam?
आयुष्मान जी
नमस्ते, कैसे हैं?
दम लगा के ऐसा में संस्कृति, संस्कार और सभ्यता, परिवार सभी था, जो कि आजकल की फिल्मों में नहीं होता है। जैसे माता पिता के कैरेक्टर जहाँ तक गायब भी हो गए फिल्मों से। अगर ये यशराज की फिल्म नहीं होती तो आप इस फिल्म को करते?
वही मैंने आपको बोला था कि मैं करने से पहले 2 बार सोचता। उसके अलावा मैं भी सोचता हूँ कि आज के दौर में या पहले के दौर में जितनी फिल्में बनाई जाती थी, उसमें हर एक चरित्र, हर एक किरदार का जो रोल होता था वो बहुत अच्छा लिखा हुआ होता था। एक वेल स्केच्ड कैरेक्टर स्केच हर एक का अच्छा होता है। चाहे वो हम आपके कौन है, उसमें सारे कैरेक्टर्स नज़र आते हैं आपको। DDLJ हैं, चाहे इशकज़ादे हैं, विकी डोनर है, दम लगा के आयशा है, तो उसमें एक परिवार नज़र आता है, एक एंसेम्बल कास्ट अच्छी नज़र आती है। उससे आपको जो मिलियू है, जो एटमॉस्फेयर है उस जगह का, वो अच्छी तरह से समझ आता है, क्योंकि हर एक शहर का भी एक चरित्र होता है फिल्म के अंदर। दूसरा सवाल आपका वही था कि क्या अगर यशराज की फिल्म नहीं होती दम लगा के आयशा, तो शायद मैं 2 बार सोचता, क्योंकि शायद इतनी बड़ी रिलीज थी नहीं, वो 768 स्क्रीन पर रिलीज हुई थी, शायद उतनी भी ना हो पाती।
just like to say, first of
No, we
all...
don't want statements. You have a question, you ask a question.
Yeah. Bhumi, first of all, you look lovely after losing weight. So my question
इसको बोलो
is...
क्लाइमेक्स के टाइम पे वेट लूज कर लेती उठाना आसान हो जाता मेरे को.
And second thing, like yesterday, Anushka Sharma, like it was wrong. I just want to speak, all of you, just one vote for in support to Anushka Sharma.
No, this is not the theme of this. I'm sorry. Sujata, let's have yeah.
Hi Sujata.
Hi. I really want to share something. He said come here.
मैं मजाक कर रहा था, मेरा ह्यूमर कोई नहीं समझता. आप वही पूरी देश की आवाम मेरा ह्यूमर नहीं समझती.
I want to share something very strong with you. I suffered in 90s when I picked up Yatim as a negative role. प्रतिघात मेरे पास आई थी, लेकिन प्रतिघात पहले रिलीज हो गई और यतीम बाद में रिलीज हुई. I suffered a lot. I was out of like film industry. वो black and white वाले बोलते थे कि सुजाता जी ने negative role क्यों किया? And almost like I didn't have much choice, you know. And I started picking up तीन heroines वाले मैंने फिल्में की, and then I left industry. I'm coming to today's topic. Now the new wave cinema or the scenario which is there existing today, I'm so much inspired, and that is why I'm here, and I'm having a great future, I'm sure, because there is so much for actor like me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The gentleman in the back. The gentleman in the back.
आयुष्मान, दिस क्वेश्चन इज फॉर यू. आपकी फिल्म में एक सीन है जिसमें वो साड़ी वाला आपका एक दोस्त बोलता है कि मैं भी मुंबई चलता हूँ, आजकल बहुत टेढ़े मेढ़े हीरो आ रहे हैं. तो वो किस तरह का मैसेज भी जा रहा है, मतलब जो न्यू वेव सिनेमा है ये आम ऑडियंस के पास, या किस तरह का मैसेज है?
देखिए वो फिल्म, हमारी जो फिल्म थी उसका युग आपने शायद ध्यान से देखा नहीं होगा. 90 की दशक की फिल्म थी, 1995 में बनाई गई. मुझे नहीं पता किसके ऊपर आप व्यंग कस रहे हैं, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. लेकिन तब मैं तो सिर्फ 5 साल का था, 8 साल का था.
This is for Rajiv sir. Nobody's question.
Rajiv with a new haircut.
Sir, as a film critic, you have the power to give a film like Dum Laga Ke Haisha or any smaller film like Aankhon Dekhi a viewership. Like Arjun mentioned that on Friday afternoon there was your review, the critics review that came, and that enabled the audience to choose this film to watch, and that's how the word of mouth increased and the collections improved.
Yes.
I think the critics should. It's a question. If you could force, or you should put your clout behind the multiplexes and give us independent films, the artistic films or the so-called parallel films, definite release without the marketing and all the
I don't think it's the role of film critics to guarantee releases. I don't think that's the role
I'm
of
saying,
film.
could that happen?
I think the film reviewers or the film critics' role is that when you see something that's cutting edge, when you see something that is good, that's breaking stereotype, that's breaking the mold, you go behind it, you put your weight behind it, and you tell the world why it deserves to be watched. And I think that is where the role of a film critic ends. A film reviewer, you champion the films that are good, but I don't think helping it get a big release. That's not the role of a film reviewer. I think that if you're an influential enough critic, if you're a credible enough critic, then your voice will hopefully be heard and people will go and see those films. As has happened in the cases, in the case of a lot of small films like Dum Laga Ke Haisha, it benefited a lot from word of mouth. And I think that now every day, everybody's a critic. It's not really just formal critics who write in papers or newspapers or magazines. Everyone's a critic, and the strong word of mouth certainly helped a film like Dum Laga Ke Haisha and several films actually.
That word of mouth is generated by critics. Both the films, Bhakki Donor and Dum Laga Ke Haisha, the number of screens were increased the next week.
Yes.
So yeah, cloud definitely.
No,
they are the many leaders of the industry.
I think the issue you're talking about is an exhibition.
Yes. I'm saying the actors put the cloud.
But see, that's an exhibition forum where you have to bring it up, where exhibitors should have maybe a percentage of the year devoted, or maybe a screen devoted to. I mean, see, those are conversations that the people who own multiplexes can have. Right. And who run multiplexes can have.
I'm just saying, could the actors or the critics or the film fraternity at large make a statement, ask these multiplexes, because they are screening Action Jacksons
Like
also.
giving a good review, I think they make a statement.
That's right.
And I don't think, I mean, I don't know, I didn't hear what you were completing about. You were saying they're screening Action Jackson.
What I'm saying is that the independent films, if they are not backed by Yash Raj or not backed by a studio, there is no way a multiplex is going to take them straight away. Okay, we don't have the NFDCs and the Doordarshans of the past that actually cultivated parallel cinema in this country.
Correct.
It's dying a slow and painful death. All this new age and this new wave,
See,
it's been there for 50
the
years.
correlation to that, and I know it's another broad topic of discussion and debate and argument, is the kind of ticket prices that we have today. Theatres have realized our footfalls are far lesser than they were in the 80s and 90s. I don't know if you ever read up on it. Agnipath, the one that released then, had more people watching it in the theatre than today, but the business was more. There is actually a disparity in people who go to theatres. So the exhibition guys have to actually put out stuff with higher prices. If you're going to put out niche independent films with those kind of price points, anyways an audience is not aware, so they do not come. It's all correlated to the fact that our entertainment tax is high in most states. Some states also have other taxes that you have to pay. There are a lot of other complications that come. So when you're screening a film, there's a lot of spend that goes into releasing the film, unfortunately, because each print costs money. Sometimes you can't even recover the print cost. It's very, very complex, unfortunately.
आप इनसे ट्यूशन लेने आ जाना, बचपन से फिल्में देख रहे हैं, बचपन से फिल्मों में काम कर रहे हैं।
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wish we could abolish entertainment tax. हम वैसे ही इतना tax भरते हैं, ऊपर से entertainment करना पड़ता है। कितनी सारी परेशानियां हैं। तो
Rajiv,
yes, PVR does have that. Yes, they have directors.
Sorry, we have time for one last question. Let's give it to the gentleman in the back.
Hi, I'm Sonu, a journalist with Indian Television. Anyone on the panel can answer my question. We're talking about young stars and new wave, cinema. What about actors who have been the torchbearers of this cinema? Actors who are not stars, who excel in character roles. My question is, will they ever break the mold and become stars and gain acceptance as stars? Actors like KK Menon or Irfan Khan.
Because I've cast for so many years, I've seen a change in the brief that we used to get. When I had started, the brief used to be कि सुंदर लड़की चाहिए या खूबसूरत लड़का चाहिए, and now it's only become कि talented लड़का या लड़की चाहिए. So that in itself is quite an achievement that today people want talent over the way somebody looks, because your looks are completely moldable. And definitely look at Rajkumar Rao. Correct? Isn't he doing like single lead films that are also doing commercially well? So I feel that time has changed where if you are doing an author back or a character driven role, that's the only kind of films you will get. At least I would like to believe that it has changed, because then considering the kind of role that I have done, I should only be looking at doing overweight parts. And I hope that doesn't happen, because yes, okay, the film has broken a stereotype, but then clearly you're stereotyping every actor, the audience is stereotyping every actor more than the fraternity the moment they see the film. So I don't think that just because you are a talented actor, you will only get that you will only get parts that are not, you won't get a lead, or you won't get like a film that has the 100 crore film.
I think Nawazuddin is a star. I think Irfan Khan is a star.
Nawaz had a parallel lead in Badlapur.
And I know stardom is constantly defined by endorsements and all your extracurricular activities that an actor has. A star is eventually somebody that is loved by the audience. That is the brass tacks of it. I think Sanjay Mishra is a star. He's just done Mauka and I couldn't stop watching it. So they are all stars in their own right. Now you cannot equate it to somebody who survived 25 years of working in cinema. It's a bit difficult to you can't say Salman Khan is a star and Sanjay Mishra is not. They're all stars. Everybody has their own place under the sun. It's like saying Josh Brolin is not that good an actor or not that big a star as a Leonardo DiCaprio. It's chalk and cheese. They all are good in their own places, and that's what this conversation is. Eventually, that balance will happen where we won't even think like that. We will consider Varun and Nawaz on an equal playing field in the film. So why should we as an audience look at them any other way?
I think looks are so subjective. I also feel that your talent makes you desirable. If you fit the part well, then I think people will find it desirable. I always thought I was conventionally more desirable in Hawai Zada, but I think people found me better in Dum Laga Ke Aisha.
That's right. And that is happening, isn't that? Isn't that happening with an actor like Nawaz? It doesn't have to be the same film. I mean, maybe Nawaz won't be cast as the lead in Kick, but he's able to.
But I think he adds value in a kick because there is a uniqueness to seeing a Nawaz. If a Nawaz has agreed to do a kick, there is a section of an audience saying there might be something more than just a generic commercial film. Let's see what is there. So that might be 5% today. It might become 10% in 5 years because of those choices.
Also, I think what everyone over here is hoping for is for that definition to change. Is where a star is not someone who sells, but someone who performs. You know, and what I was taught in acting school is that कोई भी part बड़ा या छोटा नहीं होता, actor बड़ा या छोटा होता है. So that's important.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our 4 very eloquent speakers. Thank you for giving up the audience. Thank you so much.
Everyone in the audience, please remember that we have a valedictory session that is about to begin. Before that, I'd like to thank all the panelists here. This was a very entertaining session, and just to let you know the valedictory session, we are expecting the Honorable Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Colonel Rajyavardhan Singh Rathod. We are also expecting the Chief Minister, the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. So, audience, please settle down. We will begin the valedictory session in a few minutes. Audience, I would request you to settle down.
Well, thank you, Siddharth. You haven't done anything as yet, but thanks nevertheless. Well, a very good evening to all of you, and what a great pleasure and honor it's for me to be here. I believe there have been 2 to 3 days of great deliberations here on media and entertainment industry. You know, if you were to ask this question to yourself, what makes a nation? The answers could come varying from industries, education, transportation systems, etc., etc. But I think what truly makes a nation is character. And what all of you are associated with is something that builds character. In media and entertainment, when the large number of youth of a country are engaged in all these activities ranging from transportation, aviation, education, etc., all of them, if there's a common thread between them, is reaching out to the content put out by you, which is either entertainment or news or so on and so forth. And today, your industry has the ability to reach out to the entire world. With 1 Indian in every 6 citizens of the world, you have the ability to connect across continents, to connect across cultures, to raise revenues, to raise jobs, to exchange culture. It's a very powerful medium. And India is poised to become a global phenomenon in the media and entertainment industry. There's a lot of hard work required though. The streamlining of structure, the use of technology to enable us to become what we are, what potential we have of. All said and done, despite all the technology and the ability to reach out to most people, I think what is most important is the content. And we should be able to produce such content which, irrespective of the packaging and the marketing, it should still be able to make a foothold in any nation that we want to. We obviously have a very large audience which is keen to see and hear what you put out there, but there's also a large audience other than our own diaspora that we can target as audiences. The Middle East for one, Africa for another, and US of course. This is something that we can learn from United States, which in the last couple of decades has been able to push across in a very subtle way its culture across the boundaries. And perhaps it's time for us to do the same. In the Information Broadcasting Ministry, we've been working hard to improve our media units. The Prime Minister himself has been able to popularize the radio. And radio's expanding by leaps and bounds. We are about to launch the phase 3 auctions. We're starting with about 315 cities, but we'll move on to many more. Perhaps in 2 years' time, we would have about 800 to 900 cities having a FM station or multiple FM stations. On the certification board side, we've decided to redo the Cinematographic Act. We've had the Justice Mutkal Committee give us their viewpoint, which got completed about a year and a half ago. And after deliberations, we've decided that we will redo the Cinematographic Act. We want to make film certification content-based. We want the certification board to be a certification board. We want to have online processing so that a filmmaker is able to see his dates, the schedule of the certification board, and apply for those dates. This entire process is going to bring in speed and transparency. We want to improve our films and television institutes. I was speaking to some of the filmmakers and they highlighted the point that the most important, or one of the most important things in a film is the script itself. And in India, people who write good script is lacking. And perhaps one of the reasons is there is no structured education towards script writing. And in Films and Television Institute, we have the various faculties there that we need to improve it. And one of the best ways to improve it is to have the film industry or the television industry partner us in the Films and Television Institute. The Information Broadcasting Ministry wants to create a center of excellence for gaming, animation, and special effects. We want this center of excellence to be a benchmark for all subsequent centers of excellence that come up later. But to do this, it's just not the government itself that can move ahead. The government can put up land, it can put up money, it can put up infrastructure. But it's only you who can give life to such an institution. We want the industry to become a partner in our pursuit of setting up this center of excellence. The faculty has to be experts. The institute has to be located close to the industry. The proximity will allow the experts to come and take lectures. The students should have access to projects, internship, to jobs. And that is the only way this institution can remain a benchmark that we all are visualizing and hoping it to be. We have about 200 million houses that have television sets. We have about 160 million youth who have mobile sets. Half of them are smartphones. We have about 1 lakh newspapers. 92% of the country is covered by radio. And one amongst every world citizen, like I said earlier, is an Indian. I think with this fundamental resource, we are poised to be superpowers in media and entertainment.